Wake that ass up
early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest on the line right now.
Yes, sir.
Bishop T.D. Jakes, welcome, sir.
Good morning, Bishop.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure. How's it going, Charlamagne?
Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
Man, I've been, me and my wife been getting up on Sunday mornings and turning you on and just really enjoying the words that you are giving to people during this coronavirus pandemic, man. Yesterday, the shock of suffering, incredible, my brother. Incredible, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm really trying to say things that help to guide people through the turbulence that we have never seen in our country before.
Now,
you said this is a way to bring...
What do you say to people right now that this is really testing their faith? I see a lot of people are losing faith. They're saying if God actually exists, why would he put this on his people? And, you know, should we still believe? How do you believe when you see babies dying and elderly people dying? What do you say to those people that are losing their faith right now?
He hates this.
You know, it's funny. I mentioned that in my sermon Sunday.
Yesterday.
It is the most common question that we always get. First of all, I live in a different world, but I don't see a lot of people losing their faith. My numbers are higher than they've ever been in the history of our ministry. I see a lot of people reaching out to something to hold on to comfort them, to ease them from their trauma and pain. To those that do feel like they are losing their faith, I'm not sure they ever understood the Christian faith, because the Christian faith is quite obvious and open about suffering. It is not a success gospel. The emblem of our faith is a cross, and God did not spare his own son from suffering. So we have never really alluded in scripture to the fact that having faith in God, it causes us to escape suffering. But he has fellowship with us in the midst of the suffering, and he joins us. He's the fourth one in the fire. He's a very present help in the time of trouble. When you pass through the waters, he said, I'll be with you. He never said you wouldn't pass through it. He said, when you go through it, I'll be with you.
And Bishop T.D. Jakes, you said this is a great time for people to get closer to each other also, right?
It's very important for us to get closer to each other, not close in the sense of physicalities. Uh-huh. We have to respect distance as it relates to physicalities, but we can be closer by phone, by kindness, by thoughtful deeds, by going to the grocery store for elderly people who are shut in, by serving those people who are serving us on the front lines in the hospitals, trying to make things easier for them, maybe babysitting their kids so that they can be at work. There's a whole lot of things that can be done to make things better.
Bishop, I've been telling everybody that God is trying to tell us something right now, and now is the time for us to be still and listen to God. So I wonder, what is God told you that you haven't shared yet?
You know, I don't know that I haven't shared it, but I think that our world has become increasingly arrogant, narcissistic, self-consumed, tribalistic, fighting about everything. I mean, race, politics, age, millennials against boomers. We're caught up in, and then we get this common enemy that has no respect for any of those divisions. And it's nothing like a common enemy to make us unite. And I'm hopeful that we will have the good sense to come out of our tribes and unite and fight this common invisible enemy that threatens all of humanity, not just America, all of humanity.
Have you seen some of these churches that's not shutting down and still opening up and putting people in danger and saying that, you know, they still think that people should be able to pray? And what do you think about some of those places of worship?
I've seen a few of them, and with the exception of a few of them that live in rural areas where they're not dealing with the pandemic at this present moment, there might be some room for controversy about their choice. But for the broader population, I think it's just foolish to put your flock in that kind of danger and in the name of faith, when in fact, even Jesus did not tempt God. He didn't, Satan brought him up to the high mountain and said, if you're the Son of God, throw yourself down, God will take care of you. And Jesus resisted that. And I think the church should resist the temptation to flaunt our faith and say that we're proving our faith by tempting our fate.
So what do you tell your congregation if the pastor comes and the pastor says, look, God will protect you from coronavirus. You got to have faith. Just come to church. What would you tell a person who's a believer?
A believer that you can believe at home, you can read at home, you can stream at home, and you can use common sense. That your pastor is not a dictator. He doesn't control you, that you got to use common sense. We've got pastors dying. We know several pastors that are dead. We know several people who have gone to services, and great bulks of them are now infected with the virus as a result of that idea. This isn't something that we don't have data on. This is happening right in our cities right now. We've got dead bishops, pastors, elders who did that. We've got people who came to open events and are suffering for it. Why do we have to keep repeating the same thing to learn a lesson that we could take from someone else?
That's right.
Sunday is Easter Sunday. What do you have planned for Easter?
We're gonna, we normally do a big pageantry thing, and we have a big play and a musical and a drama and all of that. And we're gonna have some aspects of it, but it's all gonna be online. I'm not doing anything in the main service. I don't want our members in harm's way. I'm trying to distance ourselves. We can't do the parking lot thing. Our parking lot won't hold the distance that's necessary to be able to do that. So we're going to enjoy it online like we have everything else and keep it moving. And I want to say something else. The first Easter service didn't have a crowd either. They didn't have a big service, and they didn't have a choir. They didn't have a praise team, and they didn't have dancers. When Jesus came out of the grave, there wasn't a bunch of people around. So Easter doesn't lose its meaning because we have less crowds and we don't wear big hats.
You said something yesterday in the sermon during the shock of suffering. You said, don't let Corona steal the headlines from Christ. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Well, I think it's all that we're talking about right now is Corona, and rightfully so. The whole COVID-19 thing is so pervasive in our society. And might I add, I think over the next 2 weeks, from everything I can read and everything I can learn, it's going to get a lot worse. It is worse now, but we're not seeing on television the amount of people that are dying, that the morgues are full, that they're having to store bodies in refrigerated trucks because they've run out of room in certain areas. The media's giving us numbers, but they're not giving us visuals. The pandemic is horrifying, and it has taken over the headlines. But when we take Holy Week and hold it up against it, that's a horrifying sight too. A man writhing on a cross, nailed to a tree, bleeding, the wounds coming out of his sides, and he died for us. That's why I think there is some synergy between the virus and Christ. It is the fact that we have a God who understands suffering, who understands pain, and did not promise us that if we walk with him, we would have no suffering. The reality is, he said, I'm a present help in trouble. I'll be with you in the suffering.
Now, with so many people that lost their jobs and people going through so many problems right now, what is the church doing to help those people? You know, a lot of times people come and they come every week and they tithe and they do so many different things. But now, what is the church doing to give back, if anything? Is there anything that the church can do to give back?
The only people who don't know what the church is doing is people who don't go to church. I don't know a church that's not out there fighting, that's not out there feeding people, that's not out there clothing people, that's not out there doing all kinds of things. Small churches, big churches. I have never seen the church more activated to do things in their community. And the only people who don't know what the church is doing is people who are in the clubs.
Now, I saw you on MSNBC doing a prayer, which is something I've never seen before. So what was the response like for that? I thought that was amazing.
It was absolutely incredible. The response was overwhelming. And in the moment that he asked me to do it, it wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. I didn't know he was going to do it. It just happened off the cuff. And I was grateful and humbled and honored to be able to do it. And I didn't expect the kind of headlines that it got, but it got a tremendous amount of headlines. But I think that all speaks to the angst that exist in our community, and when I say our community, I mean the American community, that on a secular news station that they would stop and ask a clergyman to pray. It is all saying to us that this is very serious and everybody can feel the angst of it.
Bishop, you know, we tell folks everything will be okay. We try to give folks this optimism. But what everything isn't okay? What if these are really the last days? What if we are really in the book of Revelations right now?
Well, if we're in the book of Revelations and we are believers, then we still have nothing to fear because our life is hid in Christ with God and everything will be all right. And I'm not just telling people everything will be okay. I think that we have some tough weeks ahead. I think that we're going to lose people and we don't get to pick who we lose. In the process of losing people, I've already lost people I loved. I've already seen people die that I had great respect for. I've already seen funerals we couldn't conduct and families who couldn't sit by their mothers as they were saying their final goodbyes. It's not okay right now. And what I'm trying to do is get us to wake up to the fact that this is no time to be nonchalant and to be cavalier. Our country, our world is in a crisis unlike anything we have ever seen in the last 100 years. And I don't think that we should be Pollyannas and just say everything's going to be okay, don't worry about anything, because that causes people to go out there and take risks that they shouldn't take. I want you to be alert. I want you to be concerned. I want you to be on guard because this is very serious.
Now, besides staying safe and taking care of themselves and their mental, what do you advise people to do right now while they're home? What do you advise them to do it so when they come out of this, they can be a better person?
First of all, I think that we need to take advantage of all of the opportunities that exist. That's why I posted on my website details about the CARE Act, how you can keep employed, how you can keep your business going, how you can get deferred loans and sometimes grants that will help sustain you through that period. I think we need to act on that. I think even though it's not enough and there needs to be more and yada, 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 we're still better than what you have right now. I think we really need to act on those sorts of things. Second of all, I think that this is an opportunity to get in touch with people that we're not hearing from and check on them. I'm concerned about the mental health of this country. It was already a crisis, and this just adds insult to injury. The isolation, the stress, the pressure, the bad news perpetuating itself all the time. And we don't handle stress well. We don't talk about it. We don't open up about it. We self-medicate it with substance abuse and alcoholism. Domestic violence is on the rise. We're up under pressure. We're sitting in a pressure cooker right now. And I think that faith also plays a part in it. Even if you don't consider yourself a person of faith, it's time to find some faith and enter into a place, because there are some things that science has no answer for. And we need to be able to calm ourselves, have communion with God. If you won't do that, at least meditate. Give your mind a bath from all of this bad news. Exercise, do something productive, get a routine going, avoid depression at all costs.
Who pastors Bishop T.D. Jakes at a time like this? Who keeps your anxiety from going through the roof?
Well, I have a pastor, Bishop Sherman Watkins in Columbus has been my pastor almost all my life, and he's 80-some years old, and he's a great, great person in my life. But I also get inspiration from everybody around me. I draw inspiration from little children on up. I draw inspiration from people who keep on fighting. I'm particularly inspired by the first responders who are putting their lives at risk, fighting something that we don't have a lot of details about, putting their families at risk to be on the job, willing to die, to fight to keep us alive. Those kinds of stories inspire me. They motivate me. They challenge me to try to be a better person. All of that together collectively, and then I have a Bible. And as long as I have a Bible, I can find inspiration.
I got two questions for you, Bishop.
We've seen a lot of issues, like you said, with people being at home right now, with couples going through it, and the rise in people questioning about their marriages, their relationships. What advice do you have for couples who are at home right now and who are going through it?
Don't allow the issue to make you attack the individual. Let's be mature enough to understand it is the issue that's got us angry, that's got us angst, not the individual. Avoid pushing each other's buttons. Avoid talking about things that you know are going to lead to arguments. Let's get on the same team. Again, we need unity, and we don't have unity in our houses. You have to fight this as a team. You have to be on the same page about it, not trying to prove which one is right. It's not always important who's right or who's wrong. What's more important is that we get together and fight a common enemy.
I want to talk about self-care for a second, Bishop, not just from the mental health aspect, but physically. Who's keeping your baldy fresh, my brother? You shave your own head? This is why I got a hoodie on now. I can't see my barber right now.
No, let me tell you something. I decided to shave mine off. I'm down to a goatee because I didn't even want anybody up shaving me, not up that close. I want to maintain my distance right now. And they're still learning things about this, and I don't want nobody breathing all over me right now. So I shaved mine off. And so for better or for worse, I did this to myself.
Now,
this
Bishop,
is a time that we're having to go back to doing things for ourselves.
That's right.
Now,
so
Bishop,
you do your
I'm not
baldy
gonna
too?
lie,
So spoiled.
But Bishop, I let my wife do mine. You see, I let my wife do mine. She's the only one that can get in this vicinity. So I figured my wife could do makeup. She could do my goatee.
And it looks good, man. It looks good.
Yeah, your makeup.
You baldy too, Bishop?
Huh?
You shave your head too? You do that yourself?
I shave my head. I had a beard, if you will remember. I cut my beard to make this easier to manage. I got in the mirror. I did it myself. This is one thing about coming from the generation that I came from. We're used to doing things ourselves. I came from a background. I can solder, I can plumb, I can iron, I can cook. I can make cornbread without Jiffy. I can make biscuits without popping something out of a can. We're used to surviving, and those skills are really, really helping us. And the younger generation is having to learn how to do that. The restaurants are closed.
That's true.
You got to break down and get some skillets out right now.
Now, Bishop, I was talking to my dad, and I told my dad, I was like, toilet paper selling out. He was like, well, we used to use newspaper. He said, you just wet a little newspaper, and if there's no toilet paper, that's what you use. I said, well, what about water? He said, you boil water. I said, you're right, Dad. You're right.
A lot of people got bidets now, too.
You can learn something from old folks.
Hey, just another question.
You all can teach us how to run these computers, and we can teach you how to make cornbread with water.
That's right. Another question, Bishop, because I've been seeing you do all of these hits on television and stuff, and you're always sitting at that desk. Lord, forgive me for answering this question. Do you wear pants, or do you just throw the jacket on with the top? Or do you wear basketball shorts?
I don't know why.
How comfortable are you?
Let me tell you something funny. I was going to have my pajamas on, but for fear that you were going to ask me that question, I actually have on some black jeans. I knew you were going to ask me that. Something told me, you better put on some pants. So I got
Charlamagne doesn't have on any pants right now, as you can see.
I got on basketball shorts. So usually, let me see, Bishop. You got
what the hell?
I got on real pants this morning.
So usually you wear pajama pants when you're doing these hits.
Sometimes, because they're so early in the morning. We're an hour earlier than you. So
yes, sir.
It's just dressed from the waist up. Let me get myself together. Yeah. Okay.
My goodness. Now, Bishop.
Yeah, I'm here.
I was going to ask, before you leave, can you leave us on a prayer, please?
Please, can you, Bishop?
Right now.
That's a real stretch from pajamas to prayer, but I'll try to.
Hey, we move fast on this show, Bishop, from ratchet to righteous. You know how we do.
Yeah, I'm with you. Father, I recognize that right now that there are bodies locked up in 18-wheelers with no place to go. I realize that there are people who have lost loved ones and can't attend the funeral. I realize that there are people who are hooked up to respirators and the family can't even hold their hand. I know that the pain and the pressure of this moment is overwhelming. Jobs have been lost. Income has been compromised. Families are in distress. Trouble is everywhere. And I pray, God, that as only you can do, that you would comfort and guide and lead our people through the turbulence. I pray for those who seem to be oblivious to what's going on, that you would mature them and wake them up before they have to learn in the most horrific way that this is a serious problem. I pray for our government, our leadership. I pray for our manufacturing companies. I pray for the countries around the world that we would come together on one accord and fight this globally and cohesively without the spirit of division. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Hey, Bishop, man, I just
so
want
much.
to tell you, man, I sincerely mean this. I really, really love you, man, and I love your sermons, and I love how you just are bringing people together at a time like this. And I want to encourage all couples to watch. What was the sermon you did with your wife? It's slipping my mind right now.
Model Homes. Model
Home.
On our
Yes.
YouTube channel. Did you like
Model Home? Oh man, I loved it, man. Me and my wife watched that, and if you're a couple and you're with your wife right now and you're at the house and you quarantine together, I promise you, if you watch that, you'll come out of this with a much stronger relationship, man. Model Home, please watch that.
38 years. We've been at it 38 years.
Well, thank
much
you.
love. I love you too.
Joining us.
I
Thank
love
you so
you
much.
guys.
We appreciate
Stay out
you.
there. Stay out there. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making a difference. In many cases, you are the preachers that your generation hears. Understand that responsibility. Thank you for being on the wall, pumping positive stuff to us right now. We need each and every one of us to be with one accord. Hang in there.
Thank you so much.
Bishop.